Hey, welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Appreciate you guys. We are on the eve, as I record this, on the eve of the NBA Cup quarterfinals. Miami Heat taking on the Orlando Magic. Early tip-off for everybody, 6 p.m. So if you guys, just keep that in mind on Amazon Prime. So check that on out. Heat getting ready to take on the Magic. They win. They go to Vegas. They lose. I believe they take on the loser of Knicks Raptors. I don't know what day exactly. I'm a little confused by it. And I don't even know where the game. I think the Heat would have to go on the road because I think technically the Heat are the lowest seed. But just keep that in mind. Now, we got some good injury news on the front here. Tyler Herro will be making his return, it sounds like, from his toe contusion. He's probable for the game. Davion Mitchell and Pelle Larsson also upgraded on this game to probable. So all good things in the words of Olaf. And of course, he's about to take on the abominable snowman. Davion Mitchell was dealing with a groin. Pelle was dealing with a hip. The only news on injury front that was bad was Drew Smith, and he is listed as questionable. I do believe Kasparas Giacochonis is back with the club. So there's a chance that Giacochonis, who was coming off a good game the last game, he didn't play the Sunday game, but the Saturday game, Giacochonis had a really, really impressive performance. So could it be a chance that we would see Kasparas making his first real NBA action? I don't know if it's likely, but it's possible. It's out there. He's only played in the last 50 seconds in the ass kicking that was the LA Clippers win. So I mean, you technically could say, no, they haven't won without him. So they haven't won without putting him out there. So maybe a little time for the ghost out there. I don't know. The other piece of injury news that's out there is Franz Wagner has a high ankle sprain. So he will not be in this action, and he's killed the Heat. So that is a little bit of a break for Miami, and of course takes away one of their dynamic forwards. They have another one in Paolo Banchero, who's recently come back. Wendell Carter's done a really good job against the Heat. So is Goga Bitadze, quite frankly. We know their guards. Desmond Bane, they've put a heap into. He just got fined for spiking a basketball on OG Anunoby unnecessarily hard. And then you also have, of course, Jalen Suggs. So the rest of that crew, they still have a lot of dangerous options out there, but it is good news that the Heat are about as healthy as they have been to try and get this thing all together. That has been part of the frustration. The Heat have had a couple of days off too, so that's also been able to give them a little bit of time to analyze some things, to get some rest. Spo game the day on Sunday off. They were at practice today, and now we're set up for this matchup. Now, Erik Spoelstra did talk about a few things where he was discussing the duo of Bam Adebayo and Ware, and this was Spo on what would make him play the duo of Ware and Bam more. Here's what Erik Spoelstra had to say on that.
It's about ultimately the scoreboard. So defensively, I see it as a pairing, that could really be good, defensively. Could cover ground, rebound really well, protect the rim really well. And so far it hasn't necessarily been that. Offensively, I'm willing to work through it, because it changes some of the driving angles. But I'm willing to do that as long as it defends at a high level.
It feels like he does need to be super willing to do that, and it does feel like you look at an Orlando team, it's kind of the inspiration. Like all of these teams in the East feel like they're very large. You look at a New York, you look at a Orlando, Cleveland. These are very big teams, and the Heat do need to embrace this duo fully. And I don't know tomorrow. I don't imagine that we're going to get that starting unit again. I would imagine we're going to still go back to, Bam, Wiggins, Tyler, Norman, Davion, with, Tyler coming out first, and then probably Jaime coming in, and then they kind of get to their whole thing of Tyler with the bench guys, and then the starters taking a rest. But yeah, I think there's got to be some time where Bam and Kalel figure this thing out and make it a prudent option for the team, especially with the long term. Like, this hasn't been the best year for Niko Jovic, who, I certainly misfired on thinking that he was going to be a big piece of the puzzle. So far, he has not. And, this is a guy that they've invested in Nico, where they've given him a 4-year contract. And so right now, he's just got to be able to get on the court without giving the basketball up to the other team. Good to see him make a couple of shots this last game. And maybe if Drew's out, maybe he'll still get some action this past game. But Fontecchio kind of figured things out. I don't know if that spot's going to be here, especially, with the Heat playing in this NBA Cup. I think a thing that they would like to not only get the win because of the stakes of it, and Bam was talking today about it'd be cool to get some of the young guys money, especially for the holidays, the young guys. But also like break up the monotony of the regular season, and also just the idea of like, hey, these are good teams. If you're in the Cup, there's not a lot of surprise teams, especially on the East side. So whether it's another matchup with the Raptors, the Knicks coming up down the pipe, and now this matchup with Orlando, who is always going to be there, all of these are important. And then you get to the West side of things. Those are going to be critical as well. Whoever comes out on that side of the bracket, you'd imagine is going to be a good challenge. So this is a good test for the Heat team that, as I said after the Kings game, it feels a little bit like, I don't want to say it's not a breaking point for the team. It's not like point of no return, but it is a little bit of, I don't even know if measuring stick is the right way. It's kind of like a checkpoint of the season. It's like you play those video games, like my son and I, we like Mario Galaxy, and like you get to a certain part of the level, and then like you get to kind of tap in on one part of the level where you hit it. And so like if you die, you get to like start, you don't have to start all the way back. You get to start in the middle of it. You guys get it. That kind of feels like this. Like the Heat right now, if they lose this game to Orlando, full strength, they don't have Franz Wagner, then you're 3 over 500, and then you're kind of scrambling. You're going to go on a tough road trip after that where you got to go to Brooklyn and Boston and New York. And, to me, if you can't get a win here, it's not detrimental. It's not the end of the world, but I do think like some of the shine of what the season has started would start to be like, all right, did the Heat catch everybody a little bit off guard and now it's starting to fall apart? So that's why I think it's important. I think it's important for this team to showcase, no. We are for real. We are going to be amongst the good teams here in the East. We can beat the Orlando Magic, who have taken the Heat now twice this year. And I think the Heat have shown, like, look, the only team they've gotten absolutely embarrassed by this season really has been the Kings. Has there been anybody else? I mean, not that comes off the top of my head. If I miss one, obviously losing to the backups of the Cavs was embarrassing. But, they've beaten good teams or they've hung in there with a lot of teams, or they've made things interesting. I took some issue with Norm saying, oh, we could be 4-1. I'd be like, you guys haven't really played 4-1 good. Maybe you've gotten yourself back to respectable, but that's been nice that you've battled back. But I don't think the Heat have really gone into these things and been like, oh, we've gone toe-to-toe these whole games, and then it kind of got away from us. No. A lot of the times they've been running uphill to get back into the games, and respect that they have, but there's still been a lot of holes that feel like they got to get fixed. So it's going to be an interesting one. I'm very, very excited about this matchup. Spo also said an interesting thing that I was laughing at, because it was like the way he said it was so Spo, and he was talking about the team's defense, and this was going off of Ira's question about the Bam-Ware pairing, and he kind of took this detour and basically admitted, man, I wish you guys could all just be Bam Adebayo on defense. Like, that would be awesome.
Bam is really the guy that anchors everything for us defensively. I've said it to the team. We would be an incredible defensive team if Bam could defend the pick and roll with fives. But if he could also be on the weak side, being the weak side defender at the same time, I don't think that's possible. To split them and have them guard two areas at once. We would also be really good if Davion could guard the ball and then also guard who they bring up on a switch. So I'm trying to figure out how to make those things happen. In the meantime, we have the ability to improve across the board and commit to that. And it's the same with that pairing.
Okay. So let me get this straight. The thing that stood out to me, not that he was throwing the flowers at Bam and Davion, that I'm not surprised by. Like, I think everybody, but the fact that he's like, I've told the team this, and I don't know if that's just like a crutch that he slipped, or if he's legitimately be like, he's watched film and he's probably been like, the only guy who knows what he's doing right now, guys that know what they're doing right now are Bam and Davion Mitchell, because it'd be great if I could just clone you guys. If I could just make two of you and then put you on the court at the same time, that would be a defense. It's like, you guys are good. Imagine two of you at the same time. Two Bams, two Davion Mitchells, two Bams, two off nights. Now that would be a good defense. And like anybody be like, did he just say like? So like it goes two ways. Like one, immense praise for Bam and Davion Mitchell, but also like if you're anybody else on the team, be like, wait, man, did he just say like he'd rather just have clones of them than he'd rather have us? Did he just say that? He kind of just said that, didn't he? Kind of. Like not really, but kind of. He kind of said that. He said that he'd rather he's like, man. He's sitting back there, he's like watching just everybody get torched on defense, and he goes, I'm like, what's wrong, coach? He goes, what would be great, guys? Oh, what, coach? If we had more Bams. Just like, oh my God. I do feel like there's got to be a time where people look at Bam Adebayo, and it's funny because Bam was just on this podcast, the Young Man 3, talking about how much he hated Spo as a rookie, just because he's always said the playing time, and he said this Spo never gave me compliments, never gave me love, and now like he's his favorite. He's just like, oh Bam, you can see little heart bubbles pop out, basketball heart bubbles when he's talking about Bam Adebayo. He goes, man, it'd be great. Two Bams at the same time, man. I'm like, wait, what? Did he just say that? He goes, yeah, with a side of two off nights. Spo, like, what do you do? Did you take an ayahuasca trip before this press conference? That's a crazy thing to say, dude. Anyway, can't wait for the NBA Cup.